Hermitage?
Well, I'm a graduate student at Old Dominion University, so I've been doing some research here for my master's thesis project, looking at the habitat value of artificially restored oyster reefs. And I was lucky enough that the Hermitage has two of them, which are back behind me here, that I could use. They're both intertidal reefs, and we were comparing them to some of the other oyster reefs that have been designed around the area, basically looking at the role that oyster reefs have as habitat for other organisms, different crabs, different fish that come in and utilize the area for feeding and reproduction, things like that. What we found several different reefs, lots of different organisms coming in here. At the Hermitage, we've actually had a total of 19 different species living in here, ranging from shrimp to crabs, fish, some small mollusks, snails, and other organisms that are coming in here. So they have been very important in providing habitat, and there's lots of these organisms that just strictly depend on some type of habitat to live in. So our research here has been pretty good with that and providing some information for possible oyster reef construction in the future. I'm going to continue doing some more of the same habitat studies here with the reefs and looking at some feeding behavior by some of the organisms on the reef, because that's one of the main reasons that a lot of these organisms come in here. So we're going to look at that and how different tidal fluctuations affect feeding behavior on the reef and how it affects what organisms inhabit the area, and then hopefully use that to some kind of application for reef construction in the future. Yes, I have 3 sites, well, 4 sites total that I worked with. 2 of them here in the Lafayette River. I had 2 focusing here at the Hermitage, and then also 1 at the zoo site, and all these reefs were created at the same time. And then also in the southern branch of the Elizabeth River, I have reefs that were created a little bit before here, and those are larger, bigger scale reefs, and had those down by the Gilmerton Bridge and the Paradise Creek area. So we did a bunch of comparisons with that of different types of reef, different shapes, and so hopefully that'll also give us some information on what type of reef actually is good for restoration efforts as well. I've been doing a lot of work studying benthic organisms, or the organisms that live on the bottom of the estuary. So we do a lot of studies there, focusing on those organisms, and you can tell a lot about the health of the bay by doing that, because you can find certain organisms, for example, that are pollution tolerant or intolerant, and looking at what organisms are present to give you a representation of the health of the bay. And then I've also done some studies on other predator-prey interactions with mainly blue crabs and some stuff with the grass shrimp in the area too. Yes, I love doing field work and coming out here and actually being able to get your hands dirty and getting out here and actually seeing how things work. It's one thing to read about a process or an ecological application, but actually being able to come out and see how things work and see things happening in the real world, I feel like you learn a lot more that way than actually just sitting there and reading it. So. Hopefully staying on and starting my PhD, focusing a little bit more about the oyster reef trophic dynamics around this area. So I'll be back here at the Hermitage more, hopefully, doing some more research with that. But yeah, I really love the whole Chesapeake Bay program of studying what's going on around here and trying to work on some management things to try to help improve the health of the bay. So hopefully I'll continue with doing that. Well, the oysters in the bay are in serious decline and have been basically ever since human settlers came over here, and we started using the oysters for food and for creating roads and stuff like that. So, and as the habitat, as the human population increases, then the more oyster use increased as well. So the population declined drastically. But the oysters are very important in the bay. They have a great role as filter feeders, so they're important in filtering the water in the bay. They improve the water quality and the water clarity, and so that's one of the big focuses on people trying to restore the oyster population, is that it helps to increase the water clarity, it'll increase the light penetration into the water column, and so it basically will help improve the quality of the bay in general. And in addition to providing, if we can get it back up to a sustainable fishery, so people love to eat oysters, so those are just a few of the reasons that we're focusing so much on trying to restore the oyster population in the bay.